Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Strahs-Lorenc, and I'm a career counselor. I'm always very interested in what people do for a living, and thus I'm here with Lindsey Sherwin. I'm going to learn about her a little bit more and introduce her to you. She is a registered drama therapist, an expressive arts practitioner, currently working towards becoming a licensed mental health counselor. Love to learn more. So, Lindsey, tell me more about how you got into this field.
Yes, well, thank you so much, Lisa, for having me. First of all, I'm excited for this conversation. And I had an interesting journey in this field. I actually had no idea what drama therapy was before I started getting involved in it. I was a coach. I started like coaching young adults. I had a master's in applied sociology, and I started working with clients in the field, really just doing like personal development work. And as I explored working more with young adults and adolescents, I realized like I want to go back to what I really like to do, like what my passion is, and that's like theater and expression and performance. And I was an actor for a long time as well, and that's what I did, like, not full time, but I would act a lot, and I studied acting, and so I was inspired by my clients to actually like do that, like to keep acting. And then I came across this field out of nowhere in the newspaper. Actually, I read about it and I had already had a degree. So I was like, I don't want to go back to school. So I did it alternatively, which you can do within this particular discipline. And I started enrolling in the classes, like the psychology classes that are required, and taking the drama therapy related courses. And I did it. It took a long time, but I'm grateful I finished. And now I'm registered and I'm certified. And I use drama therapy a lot with clients, and it's something now that I can continue to use, among other tools.
You have such an interesting background. That is really interesting. Yeah, I never knew that. So who is your ideal client and who do you most enjoy working with?
So my ideal client is typically from the ages of like 18 to 26. I really like that young adult frame, but I'm also working with adults now, and usually the adults that I work with are interested in some kind of creative expression or creative field. They're spiritual enthusiasts, they're art enthusiasts, they're people that really like want to and consciously choose to tap into a higher life condition, like they want to find what that feels like, and they would be interested in the processes that I use, which is predominantly like expressive arts and healing, in addition to processing that and talking about that. But really, clients who are interested in going a step deeper and okay with using and interested in using alternative forms of therapeutic intervention.
Interesting. And I was just wondering, are many of them or most of them women as opposed to men?
A lot of them are women, yes.
Women tend to be a little bit more expressive and a little bit more curious and want to go further, right? Getting to know themselves
Yeah.
better and all. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, I think it's interesting. I do have male clients and I'm open to working with men, of course. I think there's a lot to be said for how men use the approaches, which I'm sure we'll get into more as we talk more about it. But they do express, it's just a little bit the process, or like the way it unfolds looks a little bit different for them because they're not as used to doing that and expressing their emotions. So, but it's magical when you see people really open up to it.
Neat, neat. So how do the arts specifically help with healing trauma and develop personal growth and spiritual healing?
Yeah, so the main thing I would say is integration, and um it's really about like allowing one to get something out and externalize. So building that ability to look at a piece or a piece of art and express it, and then develop the cognitive ability to talk about it. A lot of people, when they're traumatized, they um, they're not used to like expressing or feeling like they can be creative because the science shows that their brain,
Mm,
has developed damages or has been harmed in some way through the incident or the event, like their amygdala looks different, it's smaller, the same with the hippocampus, like it's also part of the science um, aspect of what literally happens to a person when they can't remember something or they don't want to, and so they remain guarded and shut down. If you talk to someone like that, it's going to be really hard for them to be able to just openly express. Some people are more verbal, but this process is really um, allowing us to say the things to ourselves when the words escape us. So when we don't have the words, we're able to use a symbol or a metaphor and use that to really capture a symbolic vehicle that can get us to those cognitive states. It also allows our body to regulate itself. So when you're regulated and you're not as hyperactive or hypervigilant, as they call it, in science talk, right? You're more stable and you're more comfortable and relaxed. So when you can get into that state, which is what we do a lot of, like the breathing, breath work, sound healing, meditation, even something called cyclic breathing is a new intervention I learned about, which is really interesting. It's just like breathing in quickly and like shorter, and it really helps to relieve anxiety. Once all of these parts are like looked at, then a person who's been traumatized or harmed in some way, which causes trauma, can start to open up and feel like they can start to express and share and process. Because the goal is not only to share and process, it's more to feel better and to feel like you can be a person that can connect with other people in the world.
Have you found a lot of commonalities in the people who are
Hmm.
experiencing these things? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think for younger adults, like in their 20s, especially like those who want to break free of what happened to them because they want to go to college and they want to work and they want a normal life and they haven't experienced a lot of the challenges to come, like that we do when we're adults. I think they get more frustrated with this because the support system is more limited, especially those who haven't really had a lot of parental stability and consistency. It's like, why am I like this? How did this happen to me? Blaming, shaming. Those instances happen a lot. And also, like, this masking happens where people are like, no, I'm good. I'm good, a lot with men,
Mhm.
particularly.
Mhm.
But,
Yes.
people do it. And it's like, they come to me to say, like, okay, I'm doing this. I've acknowledged I do this. How do I stop doing this so I can it goes back to how are we feeling? Um, and that's bottom up.
Wow. So many of them have a self-awareness when they
Yeah,
come to you? Wow.
enough to be conscious that they want the help. Now, I have worked with a lot of clients who were mandated before doing private practice that did not, and it looks different. The process looks different, as it would with any counseling process, because you're sort of pointing out like why you
Mhm.
might need this service. But I guess with my service more specifically, it's less about pointing out like why you need this. They're there, they're in the space, they want
Yes.
help.
Right.
Then it's more about how do we do that for you when things are really challenging and you feel stuck?
Yes. Yes. Which brings me to, what can a client expect when working with you? Tell me what that
Yeah,
looks like.
so I always look at the whole person in front of me and really listen to their story. I created a program for young adults actually, which I'll share just about because that really helped me really get into my own groove of how I want to work with people. It's called Narrative Puzzle Pieces. Create Your Shift was the actual program, and then I developed these activities within narrative puzzle pieces, and I realized that everybody has this like narrative and we're really reshifting that or recreating it. And so I really listened to that narrative, that story that I'm hearing, which is how people begin sessions. They start talking about all the things that they need help with or that are not working. And we, maybe look at that. We really like select themes that could really help to start to pick apart what we want to look at more specifically. I really view people as having, and this is like a very consistent ideology within psychotherapy or psychology. Like everybody has these parts. Like if you look at parts work, and it's like, so then how do you, the question is, look at these parts and decipher how you want to help someone work on them. There's so many parts or
Hmm.
pieces.
Yes.
So we select the themes within those pieces that I think we should work on. They do consult, like I do consult, and they do say like, yes, I think that I want to look at that too. I said like, maybe this is something you want to focus on now. Like typically relationships and connecting with people is one that I really like to focus on, in addition to symptoms, but I don't really like to place symptoms too much on people. I just really want to develop this holistic kind of understanding, about how to be better, how to feel better and how to be better with oneself. And then we can start building the skills, right? So once we find those parts, the themes within the parts, the next step would be to offer activities in addition to processing them every step of the way, offering activities within expressive therapies that help that individual to process, reflect, and get it out. We're really just externalizing what they've been through. And I usually make up an activity based on the themes that I hear. So if I'm hearing someone is really stuck in the body, they're guarded, they can't express themselves well with people or even verbalize, we're doing a lot of role play, um, which is a common drama therapy intervention. Embodiment, somatic psychotherapy, which is using the body, dance work, movement, um, and also poetry. I do a lot of writing with people, not necessarily journaling, but these are all ways to like intervene, like making it more cognitive, more body-based, more expressive, and seeing how they pull together. And really, the goal is building resilience, strength, transformative power, courage, compassion, and also infusing this kind of spiritual essence of like, maybe I might use some music or I might do some like, incense or like spray or something to like just add a little bit more of like this holistic feeling like one with self essence. And that really helps people to master this. I feel better in this moment, which is always the goal of therapy. Like, how do I feel right now? Can I feel like this again outside of this space? And a client actually recently told me after doing the activities with me, the application aspect of how you help me, giving me activities, is so much more effective than the word vomit that I've been dealing with for years. So
Mm.
I thought that was like a
Wow.
great feedback for me to hear
Wow.
that.
Yes. Yes. Which brings me to how your approaches to mental health and well-being different from traditional talk therapy. What are your specialties? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So not all the time, especially with younger clients, are we always talking about what's wrong, right? Or what happened. Um, I know people say traditionally we're not asking someone what's wrong with you, what happened to you. But it's more like, why are you here to share? Like, what is your purpose, right? What is your vision or mission? We all have a mission, and how are you going to accomplish that? And looking at people as really having more to them and underneath them on a soul level, then sort of you're here to reduce symptoms,
Right.
improve, your social acumen or your social abilities, to connect and build relationships and, develop skills, coping skills, and regulate your emotions and, behaviorally improve. Like there's so many um, pieces. Again, I use that word within a psychotherapy session. That's why it can get cluttered sometimes. So I think really what makes me different or what my process involves is looking at those factors and those elements, which are still important because there is a clinical component to this. I am still a therapist, and I think the way therapy is approached is different. Like, yes, we have those things in mind, we keep them in the back of our mind, but when we're constantly assessing to see how the intervention, how the art form, how the creativity can be shaped in this moment or that moment, and how someone in front of me, this person in front of me, can use that to better develop what they're there to develop. And sometimes they don't know. So it's really this collaborative effort to see what is needed here.
Mhm.
Um, and really just, I think, allowing someone to understand that they're creating something for themselves, they're creating a project that they can take with them. Expressive therapies is an offering and it's an invitation. And that usually helps someone to want to be there.
Hmm, interesting. How long is a typical kind of time that you work with somebody? Is there any kind of typical anything?
Well, it's 45 minutes per
Okay.
session.
Okay.
But I do the Resilient Creator program, which I started recently. That's like my own program, more for adults. That's like the one I mentioned before, Create Your Shift, is for young adults, and the Resilient Creator is for adults and like artists and people in the creative arts that are working in the field. You don't have to call yourself or identify as an artist. I believe everyone is a
Mhm.
creator in their own way, but people that are like interested in these forms and in trying to use them for healing purposes and for therapeutic support, and like would be a step up from like traditional coaching. But this is an 8-week program, and I really see what people need. Like, it's designed for 8 weeks. So if I did a group, it would be, it could even go as long as 12, depending on what is wanted, or what we're looking at. Um, but I really do think that doing this work in a group setting is also really helpful and really healing because people get to share and express and create. And it's not only about creativity in this process. I wanted to add this. It's about imagination, because if you can imagine, this goes back to your trauma question, if you can start to imagine something new, you become creative through that.
No.
And so then you get to create the life. Creativity is action. Imagination is the beginning.
I like the fact that you say that you don't have to be an artist or anything, because I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm not an artist or anything, but I might have some underlying issues that are really bothering me. And so this is going to be different from the regular talking therapy because I'm going to be using different things that you help me with, that you
Yes,
create around me, right? To help me with the
yes.
issues that I'm dealing with. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And, and where I want to be. So the goal is happiness. The goal is what's the goal, do you think?
The goal for people
Yes.
that do this, well, we established those goals really early on.
Okay.
So they tell me what the goal is. I mean,
Okay.
I never tell someone this is your goal. It's like traditional therapy in that sense, that there is a goal, but it's sort of how it's presented. It might look different because I'm not sort of recording, okay, this is your goal, that's your objective, like you would in sort of a much more clinical setting, like in a hospital setting or in like a clinic or an outpatient or inpatient setting. It's more like they come to a safe and cozy environment, right? They're sort of open to the process. They share with me their needs. It's sort of less rigid, but we do have a goal like in mind for them. Like, okay, I'm hearing a lot about your relationships or your distress. What would we like to see happen? Like, what's manageable for you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And through their story, we start to identify. So they might come in, somebody might come in and say, I know exactly what I want to do here. I know where I want to go. I want to fix this and that. And I also break this fixing issue down because I've had
Yes.
a lot of clients that talk about I need to fix. We need
Yes.
to adjust and view the lens differently. There's nothing to really fix here at
Mm-hmm.
all.
Mm-hmm.
So helping people to, reshape that mindset. And also realizing that you will, if you don't know what the problem is or you don't know what you need to do moving forward, that's why you're here, number one. And secondly, um, you will understand your own truth. it's inside of you and it will externalize itself. That's how art helps us to move forward.
Nice. I love that. I love that. It really just makes me feel like the process is just this joint process and helps them evolve and
Yeah,
live a better life.
exactly.
Really beautiful, beautiful. So where can people learn more about you and get information about working with you?
Yes, so I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me under Lindsey Sherwin on LinkedIn, M.Sc, RDT, EXAT. Those are my credentialing initials if you want to look me up exactly. I'm on Instagram at the Resilient Creator. That's at the underscore resilient underscore creator. And you can also send me an email. I'm happy to share that email now or
Okay, go ahead.
write it to people.
Share it, share it. Go ahead.
Okay. It's expressive art heals dot lindsay at gmail.com.
Nice.
So
Say it
you're
again so everybody's got it. Go ahead.
expressive art heals dot lindsay at gmail.com. That's my
That's great.
email, and you
That's
can
great.
always email me for more information.
That's great. What a gift. Just a gift. The ability to work in such a different, unique manner with people and really help them be happier with themselves and their lives. That's a gift. So I didn't know about this. I know about music therapy a bit, and I know people get masters in music therapy, but I didn't know about the whole expressive arts therapy and drama therapist. Very interesting work you're doing. Very interesting work and great work. Important work. Important work. Yeah. Thank you so much, Lindsey. It's just such a pleasure talking to you and meeting you. And I wish you all the best in your practice. And I wish you all the best in the new year as well. Okay. Thank you again. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.